I don't know if you know this. Thor News is for winners, and that's why you're here. So stick around. Hit the button, baby. Stay cool. This is a Thor News presentation. Thor News presents
Party Dance Time.
Hello, I'm Mr. Money.
Alright, I think their strategy is we'll just collect as much money as possible and figure out actual solutions later. Because Reuters says the climate change funding piles up, but nations are arguing over how quickly. This is coming straight from you out of Paris, France by Barbara Lewis. See, everybody knows the best way to fix the planet is money. So nations are raising as much money as they can to fight the climate. If you weren't from Earth but understood English, that would probably sound weird. Developed nations have mobilized some 80 to 90 billion per year to help the poorest survive a warmer world. Delegates at Paris climate talks said, but emerging countries dispute the figures and say a goal of 100 billion by 2020 is far from reach. The issue is central to the UN talks in Paris, where nearly 200 nations are trying to forge a new pact on climate change. I wonder if they're aware of the situation in Syria, where every country now apparently is bombing them from the skies, and then they're getting in fights over which tribal areas and people to bomb, which is causing non-ISIS nations like Turkey and Russia to get into actual skirmishes where people die. That's distressing. It's called mutually assured destruction if the Cold War ever goes too hot, and that can kill way more people way faster than the climate. And the irony is that situation is controlled by politicians, just like this one. Got you feeling great, don't I? Don't blame me. Blame this damn article. The issue is central to UN talks in Paris, where nearly 200 nations are trying to forge a new pact on climate. But how much does meeting cost? You know, I've been having these meetings forever. Like, hey, for like 30 years I've been going to meetings like, hey, we should do something about climate. Like, raise money. In October, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which represents rich nations, calculated that the financial pledges from the developed world totaled $62 billion in 2014 and agreed towards an agreed UN goal to reach $100 billion by 2020. So yeah, this is real great. They agreed how much money they should raise by 2020. Like, we got big climate problems. Let's raise some big money. Since that report, new promises of funding have been made, including from Britain, France, Germany, and Japan. The delegates said. The OECD has yet to update its figures, but delegates at the UN talks said they had used the OECD methodology to analyze the new money. Wait, and how does all this money and analyzing the money helping the planet again? Would somebody like to tell me? One national finance expert, speaking on the condition of anonymity, said the new total was somewhere between 94 billion, while non-governmental organization Oxfam said the figures were more towards 82 billion. Like, why am I even talking about these numbers? What do these numbers have to do with jack shit? Like, are these slush funds? Like, do we got a plan? And why do you even need 100 billion to tax carbon emissions? You know, like, doesn't cost that much to pass the tax, I don't believe. An Indian finance minister report said the only hard number was 2.2 billion. That was clearly climate money. Developing nations such as India have accused the West of a lack of transparency. Imagine that. And the OECD vastly overestimated the size of its contributions. So they are saying 94 billion. India's saying 2.2 billion. Wow. Ain't it weird how everything gets weird when you're involving billions of dollars? And it is amazing how much non-transparency is in the entire subject of this subject. The arguments are bitter as developing nations fight for help to deal with weather impacts. They say hit the poor the hardest. Richer nations, meanwhile, say the world has changed since 1997. Kyoto Protocol, and countries such as China no longer count as emerging countries. Yeah, that mofo has emerged. I would say any nation that can crash our stock markets and shut off our airlines has emerged. The European Union is among those to reject criticism. It has not been transparent. Despite its own financial crisis, it says that it has been the biggest contributor of climate finance, providing 14.5 billion euros in public money since 2014. Well, that's great. What the hell does this fund do? When is it going to do it? How does it do it? And if they got 94 5 years early, what does that mean? What does any of this mean? Man, this is all stupid. I deny that this article is awesome. I'm a climate fund article denier. And, man, it's like they're using divide and conquer tactics on climate change. They're not really trying to change or fix the climate or anything that's wrong with Mother Earth. They're just trying to make us all crazy by getting half the people on one side, half on the other, and never intend to actually do anything about this. They're just going to raise money. They ain't going to worry about solutions. They're just going to raise money. All right, it's a happy subject. I must now go. God bless everyone.